So today we are going to learn a new chapter from the textbook of Social and Political Life. The name of the chapter is Rural Livelihood. Chapter 8, Rural Livelihood. What is meant by rural area? Rural areas are those areas do not have modern facilities and the population is lower than the cities. And rural areas are those areas do not have modern facilities. At the same time, population is very less compared to the cities. And what is meant by livelihood? Livelihood means the work the people do for earning their bread is called livelihood. The work or the people do for earning their bread or their livelihood, their food, it is known as which one? Livelihood. So rural livelihood means works in which people earn their bread in rural areas are named as rural livelihood. The works in which people engaged for what? For earning their livelihood, for earning their food in rural areas are known as rural livelihood. So in this chapter we are going to learn we will look into the different ways in which people earn their living in village. So in this chapter we will look at the different ways, which are the different ways people earn their livelihood in rural areas or in the village. So what are the important contents of this chapter? So firstly we are going to learn about one village. That village name is Kalpattu village. And after that one character, that is Tulasi, and she is a landless labor in the Kalpattu village. Tulasi, a landless labor in the Kalpattu village. Then another one character, that is Shegar, and he is a small landowner, 2-acre land only. He have 2-acre land only in Kalpattu village. After that, on being in debt, how the farmers or how the people are being on debt. After that, we are going to learn about Ramalingam and Karuthamma. Ramalingam, and he was a famous landowner, and too much lands he have. And his wife was which one? Karuthamma. Then terrace farming in Nagaland, agriculture laborers and farmers in India. Then Aruna and Parivelan, they earned their livelihood by fishing. Then rural livelihood. So these are the important contents of this chapter. Firstly, we are going to discussing about one village in Tamil Nadu, very near to the Tamil Nadu. That name is Kalpattu village. So Kalpattu is a village that is close to the sea coast in Tamil Nadu. And people here do many kind of works. Mainly they are doing the agriculture work. With that they are doing another work, non-farming works also. And for that they are making the basket and pot, bricks, bullock carts, and they are doing farming works and non-farming works also. So all of you read that portion about Kalpattu village, then you could understand that variety of agriculture cultivation are there. Variety of cultivations are there, and they are doing the farming work and non-farming works also. And after that there is given details of the one of the landless labor, and her name is Tulasi. And she have no land, and she is working in Ramalingam's land. Ramalingam, and he has 20 acre of paddy field. Ramalingam has 20 acre of paddy field. And all of you read that portion of also, and here that story narrated by Tulasi. And in this chapter there is given one story, and this story is narrated by the Tulasi. And when we read that chapter we could understand how the rural areas earn their livelihood. How the people of the rural areas earn their livelihood. And which are the works they done for earning the livelihood. And here in page number 69 there is a given one diagram, and this diagram explains Tulasi how she earned money for their livelihood. And already when we look this diagram we could understand, and this diagram shows that the pattern of the work of Tulasi. And 12 months are given there, and 6 months only, which one Tulasi have work. Tulasi earns money only for 6 months in a year. Tulasi earns money only for 6 months in a year. And up 6 months, January, February, March, April, May, and this month she have no work in the paddy field. And June, she preparing samplings, June and July. June, she preparing samplings, and July and August, transplanting is there. Transplanting means lift and reset the plant. Then after that, weeding is there, removal of unwanted plants. Removal of unwanted plants is known as weeding. Then after that, harvesting. So June to December, she have work. But January, February, March, April, May, and that time she have no work. So this shows that which one Tulasi earns money only for 6 months in a year from the paddy field or from the farming. And other time she want to do other kind of work, non-farming activities. So there are some who have a small plot of land, while others like Tulasi are landless. And some people are there, they have a small plot of land. For example, Shekhar, and he have only 2 acre land. 2 acre land. And Ramalingam have a 20 acre land. But Tulasi have not any land. She haven't any land. So Shekhar is an example of small land owner. 2 acre land is there. Tulasi, nothing is there. Haven't owned a property. But Ramalingam have a 20 acre land. Anyway, how these Shekhar and Tulasi and all being in debt, that we can discuss now. So very often farmers like Shekhar need to borrow money to purchase basic things like seeds, fertilizers and pesticides. So like Shekhar, the small farmers, they need to borrow money for what? To purchase the basic things like seeds, fertilizers and pesticides. And often they borrow this money from money lenders. They haven't not at all full money with them. That's why they borrow money from the money lenders. And if the seeds are not of good quality or pests attack their crops, there can be a major crop failure. So if the seeds are not at all good quality and the pests attack their crop, then they didn't get a good quality of crop. That means a crop failure is there. Then the crop can also be ruined if the monsoon does not bring enough rain. If there is not enough rain, then also crop failure happen there. So when this crop failure happens, farmers sometimes are unable to pay back their loans. So when crop failure happened, that time these small farmers could not pay the money to the money lenders. So for the family to survive, they may even have to borrow more money. They did not get anything from the crop. That's why they need to borrow more money for maintaining the needs of their livelihood or their family. So soon the loan becomes so large that no matter what they earn, they are unable to repay. So how the small farmers became in debt or on being in debt? So very often farmers like Shekhar, they need to borrow money from the money lenders. For what? For buying the essential things like which one? Seeds, fertilizers, pesticides for agriculture. If there happened a crop failure, maybe for seeds are not at all good quality, or maybe pests attack their crops, or not at all enough monsoon or rain. Anyway, the reason is whatever the reasons, if crop failure is happened there means they need to borrow more money for maintaining their needs. And they could not pay back it. That's why they become more debtor. So in recent years, this has become a major cause of distress among farmers. So in some areas, this has also resulted in many farmers committing to suicide. And already we saw many news in the newspaper and so other medias and all, farmers are suicide. And recently, the strike also conducted in Delhi, farmers strike. So many incidents are there to all these shows that the increasing debt by the farmers. Then what about Ramalingam and Karuthamma? And already we studied that Ramalingam have a 20-acre land. And in addition to land, Ramalingam's family owns a rice mill and a shop selling seeds, pesticides, etc. And Ramalingam have a rice mill and a shop is there, and in that shop seeds and pesticides selling. So for the rice mill they used to some of their own money and also borrowed from the government bank. For maintaining the needs of their rice mill and shop and so on, they have their own money. Besides that, they borrow some money from the bank also. So they buy paddy from within the village and from surrounding village. The rice that is produced in the mill is sold to traders in nearby towns. This gives them a substantial income. So the Ramalingam got money not only from the farming, he got money from the rice mill and other shops also. So besides land, they have a rice mill and a shop. That's why they got additional or substantial income. So all these examples in that village shows that how the people in a village earn their livelihood. And for example, which one? The landless one. The landless one collecting their money for how she done in the farming in the other's land. And Shekhar collecting money from his own land, cultivating and other works also. And Ramalingam also farming and non-farming activities also there. Anyway, different type of people collecting their earn in different farming and non-farming activities. So in the rural areas, people collect their livelihood or people earn their livelihood through different farming and non-farming activities. Now we are going to studying about terrace farming in Nagaland. Terrace farming in Nagaland. So cultivation on the slopes of a hill in the flat plot stepwise is called terrace farming. So what is meant by terrace farming? Cultivation on the slopes of a hill in the flat plot stepwise is called terrace farming. So this is a village called Chizami, which is in Phek district in Nagaland. There is given the picture of the terrace farming. And the people of this village belong to the Chizami community, and they do terrace cultivation. This means that the land on a hill slope is made into flat plot and curved out in steps. And the sides of each plot are raised in order to retain water. The sides of each plot has raised in order to retain water. This allows water to stand in the field, which is best for rice cultivation. So the people of Chizami have their own individual field. The people of Chizami have their own individual land, but they also work collectively in each other's field. They have their own land at the same time they do work in others' land also. And they form groups of 6 or 8 and take an entire mountainside to clean the weeds on it. So each group eat together once their work for the day is over. This goes on several days until the work is completed. So terrace farming in Nagaland, it is famous, very famous. And they have their own land and they cultivated others' land also. Then agricultural labourers and farmers in India. What about the agricultural labourers and farmers in India? So in Kalpattu village, there are agricultural labourers like Tulasi and many small farmers like Shekhar and a few big farmers like Ramalingam. And already we studied about this Tulasi, Shekhar and Ramalingam. Tulasi is an example of agricultural labour and she haven't any land. She is an agricultural worker or labour. And Shekhar and a small farmer. Shekhar was a small farmer, but Ramalingam a big farmer. And he is the representative of a big farmers. And in India, nearly 2 out of every 5 rural families are agricultural labour families. So in India, most of the people are doing in agriculture. And all of them depend on the work they do on other people's field to earn a living. Many of them are landless and others may own very small plot of land. So some have not at all any land and some have very less portion of the land. And in the case of small farmers like Shekhar, their land is barely enough to meet their needs. So in India, 80% of farmers belong to this group. 80% of farmers like Shekhar only. Only 20% of India's farmers are like Ramalingam. They have more land compared to others. So these large farmers cultivate most of the land in the village. And a large part of their produce is sold in the market. They produce their own land, they cultivate their own land with the help of other laborers like like Tulasi, and they distribute this thing or they sold this thing in the market. Many of them have started other business such as shops, money lending, trading and small factories, etc. So with the land, with the farming works, most of the people are doing non-farming activities like money lending, shops, trading and small factories, etc. So we have looked at farming in Kalpattu. So apart from farming, many people in rural areas depend upon the collection from the forest, animal husbandry, dairy produce, fishing, etc. So in some village in central India, both farming and collection from the forest are important sources of livelihood. So in India, most of the villages depending not only farming and they collect from the forest are important sources of the livelihood. Forestry things. It is very important sources of the income for most of the villages in India. And similarly, selling milk to the village, cooperative society or taking milk to the nearby town may be the main source of livelihood for some families. So domesticating cattle, sheep, goat, etc. are one of the major source of the income. And some people and their life of a fishing family and they are doing fishing and other type of works. Anyway, most of the villages depending not only the farming works, non-farming works also, they depending for getting the earning their livelihood. And there is given one another example, Aruna and Parivelan. Aruna and Parivelan. And they earn their livelihood by fishing. And their houses are close to the sea and one finds rows of catamarans. Catamarans means a type of sailboat. A small boat used for catching fish is known as which one? Catamarans. So in page number 73 and 74, they are narrating how Arunima and Parivelan earned their livelihood from fishing or through fishing. All of you read that portion and try to understand which are the other non-farming activities which are depending the people for earning their livelihood. Now we are going to learn about rural livelihood. Rural livelihood. So people in rural areas earn their living in various ways. So people in rural areas earning their livelihood in various activities. Some work on farms while others earn their living on non-farm activities. Farming and non-farming activities are there in rural areas. Farming means agricultural activities and non-farming means like shops and trading and so many other kind of works. And working on farms involves operations such as preparing the land, sowing, weeding and harvesting of crops. And we depend on nature for the growth of these crops. Hence, life revolves around certain seasons. People are busy during sowing and harvesting and less so at other times. Rural people in different regions of the country grow different crops. So, in this paragraph, there is explaining how people earn their livelihood from the farming. And they are engaging in different activities in different months. So, which are the important activities? They need to preparing the land, they need to sowing, weeding and harvesting of crops. They are engaging in some months, mainly 6 or 7 months they are engaging. They are engaging in agricultural activities. But rest of the time they are free. That time they can do other type of or non-farming activities. So how people are able to survive or earn will depend upon the land that they culture or that they cultivate. How people are able to survive or earn will depend upon the land that they cultivate. So many depend on these lands for work as laborers. They depend the land as workers or laborers. And most farmers grew crops both for their own requirements and also to sell in the market. So most of the people, they do cultivation not only for their own needs or their own purposes, but also for selling that product in the market. So somehow to sell to traders from whom they have borrowed money. So some people, they sell these product to their traders and maybe they have borrowed money from them. And for their survival, many families need to borrow money for their work or when no work is available. So sometimes they have no work in the agricultural field, that time they compelled to borrow money from others. There are some families in rural areas which thrive on large acres of lands, business and other activities. So some of the people, they have not at all land and they are laborers, and some have some land, small land laborers, and some have so many acres of land like Ramalingam. And anyway, most small farmers, agricultural laborers, fishing families, craft persons in the village do not find enough work to keep them employed throughout the year. And some people only have the more acres like Ramalingam. And most of the people, 80% of the rural people, and they have some acres of land only. They are small land laborers, and maybe they are small land farmers, and sometimes agricultural laborers, and sometimes fishing families, sometimes craft persons in the village, and they do not find enough work to keep them employed throughout the year. Anyway, the people in the village, they earn their livelihood mainly from the farming, and sometimes 20% of the people depending non-farming activities also. So I hope that the chapter is clear. Read the chapter thoroughly. It is very easy chapter only, very familiar things are only there. So read the chapter carefully, complete the notes and study it. Thank you.